What's up, guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of Force Junkies. I'm your host, Gary Cook, and we are talking Star Wars. So strap on in and get ready to explore a galaxy far, far away as we cover news, rumors, leaks, and everything else under the stars that has to do with Star Wars. So this first episode is going to be on the short side. There's a lot of stuff to cover out there, but I kind of want to give each of them their own podcast because there's just so much that it's going to be overwhelming to do it all at once. So this first section here of this podcast is just kind of the intro. Let you guys get to know me, what we're planning to do, and what you can expect from the ForceJunkie.com podcasts, videos, website as a whole, and all the things that we hope to get into with you guys. So some background on me is I am a lifelong Star Wars fan, total Star Wars nerd. I have collectibles. I go to as many conventions as I can. I do the cosplay. I read the books, watch the movies, follow the comic books, the whole nine yards. I'm into anything and everything that has the word Star Wars into it. And I love delving past just the surface level, getting into the lore, the characters, theory crafting, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole shebang. And I want to share that passion with other people, connect with other people that are into the same things I'm into, and just kind of trade ideas, trade theories, and get to know each other and enjoy a galaxy far, far away as one big, mostly happy family. Because this is Star Wars, and there's always some conflict, even among the fans. My hope behind Force Junkies is to be as open-minded as I can about everything Star Wars, to cover all the news, to give my feedback and opinions on it, to talk to other people and get your guys' feedback and opinions on it, and hopefully find some middle ground when there's controversy, ways to raise some awareness when there's things that people need to know about, and just kind of enjoy the fandom as a whole with other people that enjoy the fandom. The website's going to house as many news articles as we can push out. The podcast will be everything from talking about news stories, dissecting trailers, talking about the movies, to just some lore and theory crafting about the lore as we move forward and build this post-Skywalker saga universe that we're going to be living in for the first time ever. So that's going to be really exciting to see how all that grows and what things get connected back to the expanded universe and what things are going to be brand new that have never been touched on before. So I'm excited to talk about all of those things. We're going to touch on the trailers today for The Mandalorian and the Rise of Skywalker that have come out, but just kind of a brief overview of my initial thoughts and opinions about each of them. And then we will be doing an episode of Force Junkie for each that is going to do a shot-by-shot breakdown. We may have a guest join us for that as well, depending on some things, and have a co-host to kind of talk through that and just debate Star Wars and where things are and where we want to see them go. And that's where the gist of it is. It's a fan site for the fans, by the fans, and try to avoid some of the media bias, try to stay out of the political and business side of things, and just look at it as a fan who loves Star Wars, whose life is largely built around Star Wars when I'm not at work, from collecting stuff to role-playing to reading it, and just sharing that with other people who are the same way. And just a fun outlet for us all to hopefully enjoy and share together. As much as I am driving this, I want you guys right by my side helping me drive it and kind of pointing me in areas you want to know more about. If there's an area of lore that you're really interested in and want to talk about, I'd love to hear about it, and maybe we'll do a show and talk about it. Or if there's an area that you're unsure about or confused about, like why is Palpatine back, I'd love to talk about that and kind of give you guys the backstory on some of the theories of why he's back, how he survived his fall down that electrical pit of doom back in Return of the Jedi, and and just see what people's ideas are, what dots can be connected, and then see how they actually end up being connected around Christmas time. So I'm open to pretty much anything and everything. I'm going to be sharing my cosplays that I have done that are already Star Wars related, as well as some of my original character concept ones that I'm working on as they go through the different iterations and growth. The one I already have done is I cosplay as a First Order General. It's a pretty close to what General Hux wears in the new movies, but I do not have the lush, beautiful hair that he does, so I do a bit more of a generic First Order General take on it, just because I can't fully pull off Hux because I'm bald, which Hux is definitely not. Then the other one that I'm working on is I am currently building out my own kind of smuggler, junker, space pirate type feel one that is a labor of love and a work in progress, where I'm actually fabricating my own armor bits and pieces for the first time for that, and kind of giving him that junker, scrapper kind of look and vibe that he kind of just pulled different pieces from different hauls that he's done, and built his own kind of armor-esque outfit out of it that he uses when he's out and about in space. So I'll be sharing pictures of that as I build different pieces and as things come to pass with that. And we'll also cover a little bit of just general sci-fi stuff. If I see a sci-fi movie I like, I'll probably share my thoughts and opinions on the website, and let you guys know if I think it's something that you might like as a Star Wars fan, because space sci-fi as a whole is something I love. So as I watch things, I want to talk about them, and hey, it's my platform. I can do that. But 99.9% of the time, we're going to talk Star Wars and nothing but Star Wars. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this week's episode. This is just a short break to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this week's show, Anchor.fm. If you're looking to host your own podcast, talk about anything that you're passionate about, Anchor is the way to go. They make it super simple to sign up, get monetized, and spread the word of your podcast to all the podcasting platforms out there. So take a second, check them out, and enjoy the rest of this week's Force Junkies. So, let's talk Rise of Skywalker. So, we saw the trailer. We saw both trailers. There's so much packed in these trailers as far as Easter eggs, the theories, thoughts, tie-ins to the prequels, the the Rebellion Age, the video games. It's just, I'm really excited about all the Easter eggs and seeing how interconnected the movies are becoming with those, as well as what potentially could be the TV shows connecting to those as well. I will say that the Rise of the Skywalker does not have me as excited as the Mandalorian trailer does, which we'll cover next. But it still has me excited. I love Star Wars. I'm going to see Star Wars. I'm going to get excited over Star Wars. There's no way that I'm not going to. I mean, it's Star Wars. And I love it a lot. And that's just all there is to it. But the one thing I felt like this whole sequel trilogy has been missing has been that real universe feel to it. It feels very much like Rey's story and nobody else's, where the centerpiece of Star Wars has always been Anakin Skywalker. The prequels, the original trilogy, George Lucas has said it, it's always been about Anakin and the universe that he affects because he's the chosen one. And I feel like this one is getting back to that, where Vader's becoming important again, the history of Vader and the Emperor's becoming important again. And that was definitely lost in the last two movies, where they tried to kind of steer away and avoid Vader and Anakin as a whole. It felt like outside of some of the little emo Kylo scenes of him mourning over his grandfather being gone and him wanting to carry on the family legacy. And then I also felt like it's really missing the vastness of the Star Wars universe in them. In the original trilogy, you had Han's story, Leia's story, and Luke's story, along with Vader's story, and they cross paths, of course, to keep the movie coherent, but they also all took their own directions and went down their own roads. And while a lot of it wasn't necessarily expanded on in the movies and came later in the extended universe stuff, you still felt like there was a bigger universe than just the isolated incidents the movies are based around. You'd have Han Solo going off to deal with the Jabba stuff, a lot of which we didn't see on screen, but you understood that he wasn't committed because he had all these other things happening, and there's this whole other universe that was affecting the people within it past just this insular war that was going on. That yes, the war was going on, it was bad, it was galactic, it was everywhere, but there was still real life in the galaxy and problems and consequences people had to deal with. There doesn't have that feeling in this new in the new sequel movies. Everything feels so isolated, so the only thing happening in the universe is Rey's story. And it makes it feel smaller than I feel a core Star Wars story should feel. And that's my biggest gripe with the past three movies, or past two movies have been, and going into this third one, I feel like it's a continuation of that in some cases. But I have hope with a lot of the Easter eggs they packed into this trailer that we're going to see a much bigger universe and open up to what all the possibilities could be for life after the Skywalker saga, and how many doors are open that could branch off from this to really tell some new and exciting stories. I've got a whole video planned out that I'm going to be doing with a buddy of mine, as we're going to talk through pretty much the entire trailer scene by scene, skipping just a few that didn't really have anything in them, and looking at Easter eggs, theories, thoughts, and just debating where this movie might go. I've worked really hard to avoid the leaks. I've worked really hard to avoid the spoilers, because I want to go into it with just my own ideas and my own thoughts based off of what's been done before and what we've seen in the trailers, and hopefully not have it ruined for me. So that's my goal. So when you do listen to these podcasts, and that one especially, as we're breaking things down, there might be things in the leaks and things like that that we don't mention because I haven't read them, and I'm trying really hard to avoid them. And if you do want to talk about them, that's great. Go for it. Have a blast in the comments. Just be sure you mark your comments with a spoiler warning beforehand so you don't ruin it for people like me who are trying to avoid those things and just want to have fun theory crafting before the movie starts and leave any preconceived negative notions and things like that for after the movie when I actually see the final product, and not making it based off of the could be's, the might be's, and everything else that could happen from just being a part of the leaks and the controversy and drama that comes with those. As we saw with Avengers Endgame, a bunch of stuff got leaked, a bunch of people got outraged, and then everybody ended up loving it because once they saw it in context and they saw it with the acting and the feelings and the whole story, it all worked out really well. So I'm trying to keep that approach and not dive too deep into things that we don't know anything about yet, and just enjoy the movie as a whole, and just not get into that drama. So let's talk about it. Let me hear your guys' theories, your ideas. If you're going to pull something from the leaks or the or anything like that, just please mark it off so people don't get upset that you ruined the movie that hasn't come out yet, for people trying to keep those details a secret, like myself, who want to see them revealed in the way they're meant to be revealed, with all the context around them, because I feel like that's the best way to enjoy a movie like this and really jump into it both feet to get the most out of it. When it comes out, I will, of course, do a podcast the night after I see it, give you my initial thoughts and reactions and working through it. I plan to see it probably 3 or 4 more times, maybe even 5 times. AMC movie stubs, greatest thing ever. 3 movies a week, pretty much going to be all Star Wars for the month of December and January, because I don't see anything else really catching my attention that I'm going to want to see besides that. And I'm going to attempt to break down all the Easter eggs and everything that I can find in that movie as well. Tongue twister, pouring over it in the theaters as often as I can. But I'm excited for Rise of Skywalker. I've got a lot of theories, a lot of ideas. I see a lot of stuff interconnecting it to the universe at large, which has me really excited, which was something I felt like was missing in The Last Jedi, especially, and was not quite as heavily pulled in The Force Awakens, so I'm excited to see where they go with this. I think it might not be I don't see everybody being happy with the way it ends, no matter how it ends, just because the Skywalker lineage is such a beloved part of Star Wars that everybody has their own ideas on how it should end. But I do think it will be a good bookend and give us an idea of where in the galaxy they might go after this to tell stories. So let's hear what you have to say, and let me know, and we'll be back in just a couple seconds to talk about The Mandalorian and my initial thoughts on that trailer before we jump into a full episode on that one, doing a deep dive before the November 12th release of that one. Alright, let's talk Mandalorian. This trailer is another one packed full of things. I've got a ton of stuff I want to talk about in it, but I'm saving most of that for the full-length video. My initial reaction, blown away. This series looks awesome. I cannot wait. This looks and feels like a Star Wars story should. It's vast. It covers the universe. You see all the different factions are all playing into it. They're all having their part. You got views of rebels and force users and bounty hunters and what's left of the Empire. And it's all coming together, and it looks really cool on expanding out the mythos of Star Wars. The coolest part to me is by far the time period it takes place, as we have not had a whole lot of interaction within the time frame between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So we really never have seen, outside of the books and comic books, but on screen, the fall of the Empire, the rise of the New Republic, the rise of the First Order, how that conflict all started, and just what happens after you dismantle a government the size the Empire was. And I think this series is really going to tackle a lot of that from the perspective of somebody that's not directly involved with the core running of the galaxy. And I mean, yes, the Galactic Empire was a big machine that was ruthless and tyrannical and all of that stuff at times. But it was also what most of the universe was relying on to keep it stable and supported and running. The New Republic had been gone for so long at that point that when it all crumbled, there wasn't... The rebels didn't have anything in place to take control of that much galaxy and run it efficiently. So there's going to be problems. You're going to see wars break out. You're going to see things... You're going to see... turf skirmishes and border wars and planets trying to vie for more power than they had before. One of the big things we're going to see, I think, in this is just how the Empire ran the galaxy. We got some glimpses of it in the movies where we know that Vader and the Emperor dissolved the parliament of sorts and the council and the Senate that was ruling over everything, and passed all the power back to the regent lords that were over the different regions. A very much more power to the people play than I think a lot of people give the Empire credit for. So with it being run on that local level, just because the Empire fell doesn't mean the local government was going to fall with it, because it was kind of its own separate entity operating under the banner of the Empire, and that's going to have a fallout when people start wanting their freedom from the Empire, and the local leadership's like, we're still in charge here. Just because the Emperor's dead doesn't mean you guys get to have chaos to ensue. So I feel like that's going to be a really cool part of the universe to explore, and I feel like getting it through the eyes of a bounty hunter who's a hired gun, who's out to kill lawbreakers, bring people to justice, be a bodyguard, hunt down people. That's going to give us a pretty good look at what's actually happening on some of these planets and how the fall of the Empire actually affected the galaxy at large, especially in some of these outer rim systems that are nowhere near the New Republic and nowhere within the reach of the New Republic to really take any kind of control or offer stability to. Because you figure at the end of the Return of the Jedi, yeah, the rebellion won, but they also destabilized an entire galaxy, and that's going to have ramifications. And I really get the vibe that they're going to tackle some of that in these things, especially with the trailer opening up talking about the revolution's over, but is the galaxy a better place for it? Is it really over, or is it just the start of something new? And I'm excited to see where it goes. It was a really great episode, and I can't wait to break the show down episode by episode with you guys right here on the podcast. We're going to be doing a review after each one and tossing it out, and then giving kind of story arc reviews and things like that. Super excited. The channel is going to have a ton of stuff going on, both on the YouTube and here on the podcast, the website. Just so much Star Wars news, and with all these TV shows coming out on Disney Plus, there's just going to be so much to cover. Not to mention, we're going to be going back and doing some rewatches of older things, and just really diving into some of the lore and pieces that connect back to the newer things, just to kind of start painting those roadmaps for people. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I hope you tune back in as we start getting the actual podcasts rolling out with a whole lot more content to them. It's just kind of just an intro, let you guys know what we plan to do, give my initial feedback on the 2 trailers that just recently came out, and we're going to be doing full breakdowns soon, so keep your eyes out for that, and I cannot wait to talk with you all then. You guys all have a great rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.